Alright, all you crazy daredevils out there who made it 364 days just jumping over objects, welcome back to Under the Radar. And now it's time for us to check out which one of you crazy stunners is gonna wrap up this decade wrapped up like a mummy in the intensive care unit as we leap one last time into another year-ending edition of the wild world of stunts. And the first stunt that we have up comes from the stunner Rogul245 with his said stunt, Trick. And what sort of trick that this guy would be able to perform this week? Well, according to what the maestro said, this is a professional Russian stock car driver that goes by the name of Alexander and would be able to pull off a very impressive, I guess, trick track stunt that he would be able to do for us for this week. And the way that he would do it is by hugging onto the walls after taking a nitro boost and go from one wall to the left, then to the right, and then make his way to the sandy shore beaches and land right directly on the ground on all four wheels after hugging the wall like a roller coaster like no other. Like a glove! And would just drive off like nothing happened. And not to mention, during the stunt, there would be a song in the background saying, "Yeah, boy!" And that's the best way to possibly describe how this stunt went. Congratulations, man! And the next stunt that we have up comes from the stunner Axel Mach. Nice name, by the way, with their said stunt, Motocross. And this stunt, which features the annual Eve before New Year's Eve Mount Chiliad Freestyle Race-Off, would feature the Moto Boys, and yes, that's what they call themselves, doing their annual stunts on the side of Mount Chiliad. And they were just about to go for their signature trick, which is the double backflip up Mount Chiliad, which they call the Mount Chiliad with cheese, or was it the Mount Chiliad with rice? According to the maestro, the Mount Chiliad with rice, but unfortunately one of the riders that goes by the name of Mike would actually tip the bike a little bit too forward for his moonsault and would land on the front of the wheel, slamming into the ground as hard as he possibly could, but at the same time, still landing on his feet like, what, maestro? Like a glove? Which is physically impossible, but for the Moto Boys from the past couple of years they've been doing stunts, nothing is impossible. And he would get back up on the bike and successfully pull off the Mount Chiliad with cheese, or the Mount Chiliad with rice, as the maestro's correcting me again, with no problems. So nice. And the PR department and everybody else is giving it a 10, so I'm gonna join along with them. But still, no bone breaks or injuries from that? According to the doctors, he suffered a twisted ankle from that, and that was just it. Really? I'm pretty sure he broke his ankle on that fall, but hey, those guys broken more bones than anybody else this year, so they're fine. They're fine. Anyway, the next stunt that we have up comes from the stunner Stunts Works with their stunt, Project 45. And in this case, folks, I got a feeling this stunt really should be called Project 360, because on a rainy afternoon, stunner known as Jake would be practicing his drift skills in a rain-out parking lot and would decide to do a perfect 360 while his friends were crashing over on the side, can't handling their drift-like skills. And to that we say, since he was the only one to make it out successful from this drift escapades, that they couldn't dance with the kid. And the fact that he was able to do a 360 in the rain and still do a drift prior to that 90 or 45 degree turn, very impressive, man. Very impressive. And not to mention, there was cars in this parking lot too, and he didn't hit a single one. Give that man a bronze star, or a gold star. Whichever one's a good star they hand out to people nowadays. I don't know. And the next stunt that we have up comes from Owens02 with his said stunt, Franklin. And in this stunt, which features, well, Franklin, would see him going down the side of the Vinewood Hills only for him to say, "Screw you," before the car would go into full-on tumbleweed / Dallas cheerleader mode and just go hand over foot all the way into the wall by his house for him to land head first on the wall with no roof on the car and him with no helmet. Ouch! Ouch! I'm grabbing my head right now because that skull impact alone is dangerous. And according to the doctors, he has suffered a fractured skull. The end. They didn't say anything else. He just suffered a fractured skull. But did he break his neck like the maestro said? No. So he just suffered a fractured skull from all that whiplash that he got. Alright? Well, hopefully you get well soon, Franklin, and next time maybe take the road down instead of trying to be like Ace Ventura and try to ride on the side of the, on off-road with an on-road vehicle. It makes no sense. I can't even explain it right. You shouldn't have done that. And the last but not least stunt that we have up for this week and for this year comes from the stuntress Julian73s with their stunt, Crash Motocross. Oh no. Automatically with the word Crash Motocross, you can expect something very bad to happen during this said stunt. And at first, it looked like everything was going well. This guy, or girl, since it's a girl's name, but a guy riding the bike that goes by the name of Jeff, who decided to do a picture-perfect moonsault over the Route 68 highway, only to realize that he forgot to hit the brakes after pulling off that cool moonsault. And next thing you know, beep beep, a car would come along, smack directly into the side of him, hitting him at an angle which makes him go directly to Red Lobster for a T-bone, and for him to just fly off his bike in a full-on, cheerleader cartwheel mode, to go hand over foot over the highway road and land neck and head first, or more or less side of the head and then the neck first, on the highway road, curling up into a little ball and remaining motionless on the ground. And the maestro would tell me, now that's the guy who broke his neck. And I believe you, and the doctors would agree. And at the same time, they would tell me not only did he break his neck, but he fractured his skull upon impact too, even though he was wearing a helmet. So he was going so fast, and the impact was so hard, even though he was wearing a helmet with a lot of padding in it, he still broke his skull along with his neck. Wow, that must have been a really fast trip to nowhere. I hate to laugh about that, but now I seem like a jerk laughing at the guy, but still, a fast trip to nowhere for me sounds pretty funny, but not funny the fact that he broke his neck. That's pretty tragic. And if you guys want to check out any other crazy stunts of people trying to get themselves maimed for unnecessary fame, you can head on over to the socialclub.rockstargames page, only known as socialclub.rockstargames.com, and just click ever so lightly on that video page to check out which one of these crazy stunners is gonna lead the decade with at least 50 out of their 206 bones still intact. And from what we've reported on for the past several years, none of them makes it out alive with their bones still intact. Well, they'll make it out alive, but they won't make it with all their bones still intact. We'll just say that much. And with that said, folks, we might as well head back into this music, and when we return, we'll be back with the final edition of the GTA Online Top 5 Tracks of the Week for this year and for this decade, right after this. So don't get lost in the madness just yet, folks, and stay tuned.